start the meeting. We will start with roll call.
Mrs. Fairman,
I am here.
Ms. Anderson,
Here.
Mrs. Warren,
Here.
Dr. Watkins,
Here.
Dr. Satcher.
Here.
And if you could all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. We have the agenda before us tonight. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Any discussion? Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the approval of the minutes from the September 7th governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from the September 30th governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And finally, the approval of the minutes of the board retreat on September 30th. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Sprout, your superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, President Berrigan and governing board members. Here we go. Vista del Sur Accelerated Academy has been recognized by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best elementary and middle schools in Arizona. This recognition is based on Vista's success in educating a diverse student body with the goal of preparing them for success in high school. The rankings are based on students' performance on the 2018-19 Mathematics and Reading Language Arts State Assessments and their results in the context of their socioeconomic demographics, such as free and reduced price lunch and underserved ethnicity groups. Over 118,000 schools nationwide were included in the rankings, and Vista del Sur was one of only 5,300 K-8 schools to be included in both the elementary and middle school rankings. This is great news. Congratulations to Vista del Sur. Cheatham School is a recipient of the Blue Watermelon Project's Steele Family Foundation grant to support a Chef in the Garden program. The Chef in the Garden program provides bi-monthly kits for participating schools to teach students about particular vegetables, herbs, or grains. Kits include aligned curriculum materials and encourage learning through doing. A local chef is also assigned to lead a lesson, a demo, and a tasting. Please let me know when that is.
Yeah.
For September, Cheatham received a kit featuring chickpeas. Students learned about the chickpea before making their own flamin' hot chickpea snack. The beans were planted in the school garden so that students can continue to observe them. Paseo Point celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month with their annual parade. Students have been learning about the many Hispanic, Latino cultures and countries, and each class did an in-depth study of a Spanish-speaking country that included aspects such as the country's famous citizens, geography, culture, and again, importantly, its food. In the picture here, we have Ms. Sanchez's homeroom that studied Puerto Rico. I'm excited to announce this. The start of the second quarter marks the kickoff of our after-school intramural sports program. Intramurals are a great way to promote healthy competition and build school pride, not to mention, as we all know, bringing some normalcy, a sense of normalcy to our students. While the program was delayed this school year, we plan on offering sports in all 3 seasons. Tryouts started this week for boys basketball and co-ed softball. We look forward to seeing our students having fun and competing on the fields and in the courts. Levine Elementary School has received a generous donation from former teacher Lois Tosh, who recently passed away. Mrs. Tosh was a K-2 teacher at Levine Elementary School starting in 1964 and retiring in 1988. She spent a majority of her teaching career here in Levine, and as her great niece stated, growing up, we often heard wonderful stories about her years at Levine Elementary School. Mrs. Tosh loved books and reading, so it was no surprise to her family that she had bequeathed $10,000 to the Levine Elementary School library. These funds will be used to fill the library shelves with new books. The school will also pay tribute to Mrs. Tosh by marking each purchased book with a sticker thanking her. A storytime corner will be dedicated to her, and a rocking chair for teachers and the librarian to use during story time will be dedicated to her as well. Thank you to Mrs. Tosh and her family. I know that they are watching tonight. We greatly appreciate this. Let's give her a round of applause. What a wonderful legacy for a teacher that will keep giving to this community. Tanner representatives from the Tanner Community Development Corporation recently visited Levine School to learn more about their mindfulness program. They were so impressed with the program, they coordinated a donation of furniture and mindfulness supplies for the school through the Help Enrich African American Lives, or HEAL program. Representatives from HEAL dropped off the items at Levine. These items will be used to enhance existing healing rooms and also add a satellite mindfulness area to the library. Thank you, TCDC and HEAL. Levine has received the Government Finance Officers Association Award for Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 2020 fiscal year. We were previously awarded a similar recognition from the Association of Business Officials International this past summer, and this is a huge tribute to all of our folks that are on the finance side for their professionalism and all that they do to make sure that everything financially is in great order in our district. So thank you to our entire business team. Let's get in there. So we have a new wellness program for our employees called WellStyle, or WellStyles. In an effort to continue keeping our staff healthy, we hosted our annual flu vaccine clinic, also a pneumonia vaccine and shingles vaccine, if you're able to receive that, during the week of September 20th, 21. Safeway Pharmacies provided vaccinations to over 180 employees. Next up in this program is our annual biometric wellness screenings, which will be held in December. Also in the works is a COVID-19 booster clinic for our staff. The scheduling of this clinic is pending approval of the Moderna booster vaccine. Employees who receive a vaccination and or participate in biometric screenings earn reward points in our WellStyles wellness program. Employees can also earn reward points by participating in healthy activities such as our district's golf outing, watching cooking demonstrations, counting their steps, or practicing meditation. With these reward points, they can purchase gift cards, shop at the Virgin Pulse store, or donate to a cause near and dear to their heart. But most importantly, we hope that this supports them in taking good care of their health. Levine schools can now provide free on-campus COVID-19 testing to students and staff who are sent to the health office with COVID-like symptoms. The Binax Now COVID-19 tests are provided by Maricopa County Department of Public Health in weekly allotments. The nice thing about this is the test results are available within 15 minutes, allowing students and staff with negative results to return to school when their symptoms have subsided. This type of COVID testing is an additional step we are taking to improve the safety of our students and staff and community, and to keep our students and staff in the learning environment. And now on to our employees of the month. This employee is a devoted teacher who truly has the desire to help our students succeed by igniting them In them, a passion for learning. A natural-born leader, she is known around campus as someone who will advocate for her students and peers, all while having a big smile on her face. She is willing to lend a helping hand wherever needed and a tremendous asset to her school and her community. And I'm speaking of Sherry Gibbons, third grade DLI teacher at Paseo Point School. And we have Principal John Roloff here to also recognize you, Sherry. You can just.
I just want to take a couple seconds to thank Ms. Gibbons. And when you talk about teachers who set high expectations and work with the kids to scaffold those instructions, help all students learn, Ms. Gibbons truly cares about all of her students. She won't lower her expectations for anyone. She has bell-to-bell instruction, and she constantly is in contact with the parents about their students' education. The parents love her and they trust her, and all the kids on campus do so. So thank you, Ms. Gibbons, for your contributions to Paseo Point in our community.
All right, Butch, we'll go ahead and go to the picture here. Our classified employee of the month this month is Carlos Valenzuela. He is not able to be here tonight. We'll go ahead and let's give him a round of applause. He is the computer technician at Estrella Foothills Global Academy and the Levine Online Academy. We will get him next month. Okay, so we will move on and to our classroom spotlight. And speaking of Vista earlier, we are very excited tonight to have Vista del Sur Accelerated Academy students here. And I will turn it over to our principal, Jessica Epax.
President Berrigan, Dr. Sprout, governing board members, and guests. I'm here with you today to share our amazing students. We want to showcase a high-leverage instructional strategy by demonstrating a Socratic seminar. Ms. Allen will be explaining the strategy more in depth shortly. However, I wanted to share why we use Socratic seminars as an instructional tool at Vista. As you know, many of Vista students are high-achieving and easily reach proficiency. One of our biggest challenges is continuing to push them to their productive level of discomfort in order to meet their fullest potential. One of the consistent ways we do this is by pulling back on the teacher's role of knowledge holder and putting the students in charge of their learning. A Socratic seminar allows students to be the driver and engage in hearing from other students. Not only does it address numerous standards like English language arts, science, social studies, but it also weaves in the Arizona College and Career Ready standards for listening and speaking. At Vista, we want to prepare our students for their future endeavors by being collaborative problem solvers who are comfortable with challenging concepts and speaking to a diverse audience. A Socratic seminar does just that. I want to welcome one of our outstanding teachers, Ms. Allen, to tell you more. Ms. Allen.
President Berrigan, governing board members, Dr. Sprout, and guests. I'm so excited to be here and showcase our amazing students. And what I love about Socratic Seminar is that it is a student-led discussion of complex text that incorporates both social studies or science standards as well as our English language arts standards. I love to use our primary sources from our Discovery Education curriculum that really allows students to make those complex inferences. Students have an opportunity to build on each other's ideas and create new meaning. In the Socratic Seminar, you will see students close read and annotated a text called The Hymn of the Nile from our Discovery Education curriculum. In the previous lesson, students learned about the geography of ancient Egypt and how the civilization adapted to their environment, developed, and thrived along the Nile River. Before starting the Socratic seminar, I posed the essential question. Based on this excerpt from the Song of the Nile, what can you infer about the importance of the Nile River to the ancient Egyptian civilization? And I gave students instructions to highlight explicit details, make inferences, and ask questions. I reminded students that if they came across words or phrases they were unfamiliar with, to use their context clues to determine meaning. And since this passage contained a large amount of figurative language, I reminded students to make those inferences and analyze the meaning of words and phrases to draw conclusions. I would now like to welcome our wonderful sixth grade students, and we will go over our Socratic seminar norms. Before we start our Socratic seminar, just review our Socratic seminar norms. So remember to refer to the text during our dialogue, ask for clarification when needed, stick to the point currently under discussion, make any notes about ideas or new insights you want to come back to, take turns speaking, yielding to the person who has not spoken, listen carefully, and be respectful. Remember our essential question. Based on this text, what can you infer about the importance of the Nile River to ancient Egyptian civilization?
So I can infer that everyone depended on the river because not only it gave them everything they needed to survive, but it's because I believe it's because Egyptians were like really religious and they believed everything connected to the God. I would like to build on because the river was so important. They treated it like a god and worshipped. It said in the text, he is the creator of all living, as master of energy, full of sweetness in his choice. If offerings are made, it is thanks to him. I want to go back to his guardian journey. The excerpt states that when you, the Nile, shine in the royal city, the rich man is sated with good things. The poor man even disdains the loaded. All that is produced is of the choicest. All the plants exist for your children. If you have refused to grant nourishment, the dwelling is silent, devoid of all that is good. The country falls exhausted. The Nile creates and sustains all life and everything in general. And the Egyptians prosper because of the Nile. And also the Nile is almost like Egypt's parents who helped hand and led it to its wealth.
The Nile River is something that Egypt needs in order to survive. It is the baseline of Egyptian civilization. And the Nile, Egyptian civilization without the Nile would be putting the reflection of Egypt with the Nile. Because the Nile River was everything to Egypt. It was the reason Egypt is.
I want to build on to that. In the text, it says, water in the orchards created by Allah, to cause all the cattle to live, he gives the earth to drink and exhaust the whole land. So without all the Nile River, wouldn't have cattle, we wouldn't have orchards. So I think it plays a big role in the Egyptian civilization.
In the Zone, I prefer they treated the Nile like a god because they even made a hymn, like a song for the Nile, and they highly respected them.
Building on to that, in the text it says, no dwelling may contain, none penetrates within your heart. Your young men, your children have brought you, and render unto you royal honor. They believed that the Nile was the savior that helped them thrive and was very good. Moving on to that, the Nile River is almost like the center of Egypt. Without it, it would be nearly impossible for Egypt to have thrived like that.
In such a hot and inhospitable desert, in Africa especially, the Nile River is an enchanting aspect of Egyptian civilization. Providing water, better plants water, gave people information, they could use it to go to the right place. It was really just innocent.
I noticed in the text that they refer to the Nile as he, personifying the Nile. Any thoughts about that purpose of that personification?
think that maybe they don't really want to reveal the name of him because maybe they just wanted to keep him a secret. Maybe because maybe legends might say that they wanted to keep his name secret, and I don't know, maybe they wanted to just I don't know, I don't know how to explain it in words, but maybe they just wanted to preserve the name and to make sure that nobody ever uses the name. In ancient societies, mainly men and males were dominant, so maybe in their culture, the males were dominant. They provided everything. So I think that's why they refer to now as
I want to build on because they're friends to the youth. Like Mama said, they highly respected male, and so they were really highly respecting and thankful for the river.
Would the Nile civilization have existed without the Nile?
As Erica said earlier, Africa is dry.
So since Africa is really just a hard place to start civilization, the Nile River, it provided one of the most important resources, water. In the desert, water is the most scarce thing. Without the river, Egypt would probably wouldn't be.
I would agree with Erickson, but at the same time, I also want to build on to you because although it may seem like the Nile River was the most important thing, which actually was, it's not good to use something too much, even though it's something really important. Because if you do, then you can start to become greedy, and it's kind of like a habit. And then if you get used to that, then you become more greedy for that object, and then you might forget the importance of the Nile River. So you start to get greedy and might want to use the whole entire thing of the Nile River, and then there will be no more resources.
So they really talk about preserving it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Vista students, thank you so much for showcasing our Socratic seminar. We were obviously really enjoying it. Thank you for this opportunity this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Eaton. Come on, scoot over this way. Yeah, parents, if you'd like to get a picture, come on up. Right here, buddy.
One. Oh, can you please hold it? There you go. One, two, three.
Yeah. I moved up. Oh, and it's pretty. Okay. I'd love to. Yeah. Yeah.
So first, these students could go all night yeah, with this discussion, and that was awesome. I think we need a field trip to the Nile now. I'm very excited to go. Governing board, this is the way social studies should be taught. And I think when we were kids, we learned how long the Nile was, how wide it was, all these facts. But as you heard tonight, we have students applying their knowledge of the Nile and thinking on a much larger scale, which is the beauty of these Socratic seminars. And so once again, thank you, students. Let's give them a round of applause. And before we wrap up the superintendent's report, I would just like to say thank you to a few people that help make these meetings happen, and that's our tech team. And so back there, I just want to recognize Butch, who is running the slideshow, and Eddie, and as well as Richard, wherever Richard is. He's in the closet. He's been bad today, so he's in the closet. And then one of our folks that is not here sets this up every governing board meeting and is responsible for this room, and that's Susie Hoy. So we thank each one of you, and let's give them a round of applause. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sprout. Thank you again, kids. That was fantastic and would rival the conversation of many adults on the subject of the Nile River. So great job. You make us proud. Very quickly, we will now move into the Levine Community Action Committee presentation, and I think that's Dr. Roselle and some friends. Come on up, guys.
We didn't practice this part, sorry. President Berrigan, school board members, Dr. Sprout, colleagues and guests, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come here tonight and give you an update on the Levine Community Action Committee. I can't believe it's been a year since we've been here. We advance the slides. Do I have to say next slide?
Maybe.
Okay, tonight's presentation has three parts. The first part is going to be a recap of the 2020-21 school year with the Levine Community Action Committee. And then I also want to announce a very exciting partnership with the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce. Not only is the Levine Community Action Committee partnering with the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce, actually the Levine School District as well. And then I have three incredible guests that are not just LCAC members, they're also leaders within our community. So I'm really excited for them to be here today to talk to you about some of the projects that we will be embarking on this year. So let's first start with an overview of what we did last year. I still remember like yesterday when Dr. Sprout came into my office and said, you know what, Joe, I need you to do a better job of engaging our community. Let's go out there and find our faith-based leaders like Ryan here, and let's see if we can get them engaged and involved with the Levine community. But after a couple of conversations, we realized that we also needed to attract nonprofits, our educational partners like the high schools, colleges, community colleges, and elected officials. And it was exciting. It was exciting because even though it was during a pandemic, we were actually going to go out and we were going to try to attract other partners. We were going to expand our reach, and we were going to better serve our community. So after a year of great success, we had some opportunities to share our story. And during this presentation, I want to talk to you about some of the things that I was able to present at School Connect. School Connect had me present them to the superintendents of Maricopa County because they heard of the huge impact that we had in our community. So they said, you know what, Joe, we want to know what secrets you have for your success. What are some of the things that the Levine Community Action Community did that were so impactful? And the first and foremost was we really collaborated and worked together in order to have our projects take on the identity of our community. So it wasn't about our district, it was about our community. So we were searching for community-based solutions for community-based problems. We quickly realized by taking this approach that we could accomplish more. Now, I know I've talked to you about giving away 500,000 pounds of food, but I think that something that's even more impactful than that is we actually pulled together 800 volunteers. We were able to work with churches, other high schools, with universities, to pull together just an army of people in order to serve our community. One of the other big lessons we learned, or one of the other big lessons that we had to do, was we had to stay true to our goal and change our pathway when necessary. We had a pandemic last year. We couldn't meet in person. We had 50 organizations in the Levine Community Action Committee working together. And there wasn't a time or wasn't an instance where we let go of a goal. We just pivoted and made sure we reached our goal, which was incredible. And lastly, through the help of Fern Ward, We actually had a great virtual presence. The Levine Community Action Committee has a great Facebook page with 2,600 members, which has enabled us to go out and communicate with our community, which was fantastic. So what did our subcommittees do last year? Well, we gave away 500,000 pounds of food over 16 Saturdays. We had a spring fling, which really helped our community partners engage with our community. A lot of our partners said, you know what, Joe, we can't get to your parents, we can't get to your kids because of COVID. So we had events like this when we were putting food in the back of their car. They reached through with flyers and able to connect. We also made our COVID testing, our COVID vaccines, and our flu shots more successful because we relied on our community to get the word out and not just the school district, which was incredible. And one of the big projects that the Current Resources did was partner with School Connect and pull together 10 partners to show all of the employees, the teachers, how much we care about them last year with the Love Our Schools event. The TIES subcommittee, and I don't want to steal your thunder, had a year of planning last year. We were developing a family project. We wanted to give parents from different backgrounds the opportunity to meet in a community event and develop a friendship, which was incredible, and you'll hear more about that here shortly. And lastly, our Gap Stop subcommittee, which is now rebranded the Youth Leadership Subcommittee, thought it was really important to connect resources to our community, so they developed a website. Talk about pivoting. We had a town hall meeting with 12 partners, elected officials. Dr. Sprout was here that night. It was over 2 hours. We had 424 views on that town hall. It was incredible. It was a great way to connect both sides. And the Gap Stop did monthly updates to make sure we had consistent communication. Now, again, how are we pivoting this year? How are we making ourselves more impactful? Well, we knew that the one group that we didn't have was businesses. So we made sure that once we heard the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce was relaunching, we wanted to be a part of it. So we met with them, and not only did we want to partner with them with the Levine Community Action Committee, we also wanted to partner with them as a district. So I'm proud to say the Levine School District is a nonprofit member of the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce. And I have to hand it to the Chamber of Commerce. They jumped in right away. They sent volunteers our way on our first food giveaway. 6 o'clock in the morning, they were here giving out food to our community. We're also partnering with the South Mountain Chamber for a virtual business breakfast. We already have 50 businesses, educational partners, nonprofits that are going to network on October 27th, which I'm really excited about. And one of the things I'm most excited about is the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce is going to present at our town hall for youth leadership on March 2022 to help with youth workforce development, which I'm really excited about. Now, being a new member of the South Mountain Chamber of Commerce, I have to tell you about one of our initiatives. One of our most exciting initiatives, and you can see the picture, this is an easy one to do. Be vocal, shop local. So every Wednesday, do your part and go out and support local businesses. You can see me there in a couple pictures having lunch. It's just that easy, or dinner. But make sure you take your picture and you post it on social media so our community knows that we love our local businesses to help them out. At this point in time, I'm going to have our first community or LCAC member talk about the project for Current Resources. Please help me welcome Nicole Barrett from First Things First.
Thank you for your time here today. So I'm representing the Subcommittee of Community Resources here for the LCAC. My name is Nicole Barrett, and I work for First Things First. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Phoenix regions. I'm not sure if you're familiar with First Things First. We're that statewide agency that supports partners, communities, families to make sure that every young child in Arizona has the ability to have the healthiest development, to make sure they arrive at school districts just like yours, ready to learn and succeed. So I'm very fortunate to be part of the LCAC. I'm also a member of the Chicanos por la Causa Child Abuse Prevention Council here in South Phoenix, and I'm the chair of Community Resources, so I know how important it is for families to be connected to resources and for us to be connected with each other so that we're working smarter and not harder. So I've been with LCAC for, I think it's since March when the spring fling, but my colleague Chantel has been connected with Dr. Roselle for about the last 3 years, so we definitely have known about LCAC and the great work that's being done, so I'm excited to be on board. Right now, I'm giving you a little update on community resources thus far. So I said, we started with the spring fling because we wanted to sort of widen the idea of food giveaways, right? Like Dr. Joe mentioned earlier, we were pivoting. How can we get resources to families, when they need it? And so we thought a way to do that is to bring the resources to them when they come to get the food boxes. So we were able to bring community partners in and really just make food giveaways that much larger and have more reach. We've got 6 food giveaways scheduled. We had our first one last Saturday, running all the way through March. And we definitely have lots of partners excited to be there with us at each event. Last one, we had 15. So we're just looking for more to join us. And yeah, and I love being part of the LCAC because it really does give me access to the community, individuals like yourself. And, we're always looking to partner with nonprofits, faith leaders, churches, businesses, everything like that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next community partner member that's going to join us is Ryan Malone from CCB Church, and he's going to talk to you about the Ties project this year.
Good evening. President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, thank you for having me. Like Joe said, my name is Ryan Malone. I serve as the campus pastor for Christ Church of the Valley here in Laveen. We are new to the community. We're excited to be here. Just to tell you a little bit about our church, we have a mission statement called Win, Train, Send. So we win people to Christ, we train them up to become disciples, and then we send them out to impact the world of their community. And our staff, our Laveen staff, we figured that there are 3 things that people desire. They desire community, they desire purpose, and they desire authenticity. And that's why we were so intrigued with the LCAC, because they are so involved with the community. And we felt like that really aligned with our church. So we've been a part of the LCAC for about a year now, a little less than a year. Been a part of some food giveaways. We were a part of an initiative to get some school uniforms in the schools recently as well, which was great. I want to talk to you guys about Ties. So like Joe said, the subcommittee has been meeting for like the last year. They believe now is the time to start that family project. What the family project basically is people of different backgrounds, different cultures coming together at some type of event to build genuine relationships and genuine friendships. So Christ Church of the Valley is having a movie night on October 22nd. That's going to be our first kind of awareness event. So at that event, Dr. Roselle will be there, Mrs. Woods will be there to hand out flyers. And like I said, that event is more just for awareness of what the family project is. So they'll get a flyer. I'll hand that to you guys here in a second. You'll get to see what it is. Families are going to be able to get a little bit more information about what the family project is. And then we're going to have 2 date nights. So Cesar Chavez High School is going to have 2 events. So it'll be either a sporting event or a performing arts event where we're going to feed them, give them a snack, and then also give them an opportunity once again to just come together. So we're very excited about this as a church, and I'm excited to be part of this committee. I will hand that to you guys just so you can take a look, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last committee member, Cynthia Estella, is from the Laveen Community Council. We'll be talking to you about our Youth Leadership Initiative, which will be our summit in March of 2022.
Hello, esteemed board members. It's my honor to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So I've been a very active community member of Laveen for the last 17 years. From the Laveen barbecue to the turkey trot to the egg hunt to the golfing event to the street cleanups, Christmas events. And it really is a great honor to be part of the LCAC. My team and I have been involved in the food giveaways and with all the big event that you guys put together last year. And we are going to be having a summit in March 2022. We are going to get together with all the businesses that are here in Laveen and really show the community and the youth how to get involved and how to make a difference. And a really huge shout out to Dr. Watkins for being a headliner for our Turkey Trot event. And it's people like Dr. Watkins that really make a difference in our community and to our children to show a great example. And that's why I'm here today, and that's why I love being an active member of our community. And thank you for everything you're doing for our community, Dr. Roselle, and so many others in this room. So I look forward to working with all of you, and thank you so much once again.
As you can see by my presentation, we're just not a group of partners, we're a group of community leaders. That's the most exciting thing. And one of the things that I found that we've been able to do is we've been able to amplify each other's voices, which has been an incredible thing. So these guys right here, they make my job easy, which is great. So let's give them a big round of applause.
One last thing, shout out to Levine Baseball. Thank you.
Thank you.
If before you go, just Dr. Roselle and all of you that are here tonight, as well as everybody else that's participating in the LCAC, we really do appreciate the work that you do. In addition to the work that our staff and students do daily in our school buildings, it's work like this that I think turns our school buildings into communities, and we want to be a part of the community. And things like this are part of why I love being in Levine. It differentiates us from other cities and suburbs in Phoenix. So thank you. Okay, families, we appreciate you being here with us tonight. You guys are welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting, which is a more business-related portion of the board meeting. But we'll also pause so that if you'd like to leave and go celebrate for dinner or whatever you'd like to do, you can leave now. Thank you. Wow. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. We have a consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second. Any discussion? been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then, my scroll is moving all around. Sorry. Then is Miss Purcell here? Miss Purcell, it is time for the annual financial report. Come on up here, my dear. Yeah, you were.
Okay, good evening, President Bear again. Board members, Dr. Sprout and guests, I'll be presenting a brief presentation on our fiscal 2021 annual financial report. The annual financial report is required to be filed with ADE by October 15, 2021. Every year, we analyze our closing revenues and expenses. Our maintenance and operation expenses increased mostly due to teacher salaries and the establishment of reserves to become self-insured. We continue to be very competitive with teacher salaries as a district. Although federal COVID grants partially supported teacher salaries, there was still a 3.2% increase out of M&O. Prepaid medical expenses used to cover 2 years of claims in reserves was sent to our trust fund, which contributed to an increase in M&O as well. The amount of $5 million was transferred to Valley Schools Employees Benefit Group to enable the district to go self-insured in this current 21-22 fiscal year. Other increases in expenses are due to federal COVID grants. These reflect the additional costs related to accelerated learning. Some examples of these expenses are summer schools at 8 of our schools, summer school at 8 of our sites, additional training for teachers, tutoring, and online instructional programs. We also experienced decreases in expenses. Our transportation costs decreased by about 4.8%. This was primarily due to online instruction most of the school year. Our unrestricted capital also decreased from the prior year. Again, some capital expenditures were delayed due to COVID, and many instructional software and technology items were offset by the federal COVID grants. A few significant fund changes are as follows. The district's revenue decreased by $2 million due to loss of students. This loss was covered by the enrollment stabilization grant. Our unrestricted capital budget ending balance increased by about $1 million from the prior year. Again, this resulted from the decreases in expenses out of our capital fund. Our bond ending fund balance decreased by around $4.6 million due to the completion of Estrella Foothills Global Academy and the new middle school wing constructed at Cheatham. We then transferred $2 million from our district employee benefits trust reserve to Valley Schools Insurance Trust. As I mentioned earlier, this established the reserve that allowed the district to go self-insured in this current fiscal year. And last, there was only a few reporting changes on the actual report, which were optional until fiscal year 2022. They were the detailed breakdown of technology expenditures, improvement of instruction, and library media services. Although this is optional, we are reporting this information. And this concludes my presentation. You guys have any questions?
Any questions? Mrs. Purcell, if you can share with your team our appreciation for the great financial work. We heard you received the GFOA award, and I think your boss, Kevin, is receiving an award from ASBO.
Yes.
Tonight, even maybe. So thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you.
You can let Kevin know we applauded for you. We do need to take action on that, I believe. although it doesn't read as such. We do have to. I promise you we do. This
Okay,
I know.
I move that we accept the report as proposed, is given.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we have some policy revisions. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
motion carries. Oh, too late. We voted. We could have waived the second reading. That's okay. We can do that. The ASBA proposed bylaw change is next, and I think what we're voting on is for you, Dr. Watkins, to make the vote on that because you've been our selected person for the ASBA.
Make a motion to accept.
Okay. Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We have an agreement with the Graduation Alliance for the Student Attendance Recovery Project, which I think is wonderful.
Motion? Second?
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And an increase to our hourly rate for our school safety officers, and I believe this will bring us more in line to what other school districts are paying in the area. Do I have a motion?
Motion? Second?
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We now have some information on student achievement. Come on up.
All right, I'm going to take us home once again. How do I always get this role? Good evening, President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout and Giff. Tonight I am going to give just a brief overview on our results from our last state assessment, which I know seems like it was months ago because it was in April. But just recently those results were released publicly. So we'll share that and really more importantly what we're doing now to combat the learning loss that we know our students have. So, the little arrow doesn't work. Thanks, Butch. He's really, really good. That's the last slide, though. We'll just go backwards. It's so really good. All right, here we are. So, you've seen the whole thing. I'm done. So just really a quick overview, because the state assessment name continues to change, it gets a little confusing. So in 2019, our state assessment was called AZ Merit, and that's the test that our 3rd through 8th graders take in English language arts and math. And then our 4th and 8th graders take AIMS Science. So that had been our test for a number of years, and we had given you reports each year on how our students did. Well, then in 2020, we had this little pandemic hit, and state assessments were canceled for the first time ever in my life. So that was odd. So then we hit the 2021 school year, and that, as you know, was our year of distance learning and students in and out. But we did bring the state assessment back, although they changed the name to AZM2. But it was the same assessment. The science test did change, and it's called AZ Sci now, and it's a new test for 5th and 8th graders. So this past spring was a field test. So we did not get results on that, but our students will take it this year. And now this year that we're in, the test is changed yet again to AASA. But I have been at some meetings and I understand it's really the same assessment, a new vendor, a new name, but the same item bank, the same cut scores, the same writing rubric. So it sounds like it's the same to me. So we've kind of taken the same test for a number of years, but we call it different things. So this year it's AASA. But I do want to give you results on how we did in this past year in April of 21. So first, these are the state results. So as I'm sure you've heard and read, student scores are down across the nation from this pandemic and distance learning. So this is the passing rate for Arizona in 3rd through 8th grade from this past spring. And just for comparison, in 2019, which was 2 years back, but that's the last year that we have state data, you can see that although they're never stellar, they were higher in 2019. And you see the loss there. Well, the same thing is true for Levine. And so this is our passing rate from 21 from this past spring. And when we look at where we were 2 years ago, you can see that Levine as well has quite a dip from where we were 2 years ago. So certainly opportunities for growth here. So one of the other things that we do always look at is just where we fall with our other districts that feed into Phoenix Union. So as you know, Phoenix Union High School District is our feeder high school, and there's 13 districts that feed into that. So this chart just shows the passing rate for ELA for those 13 districts. So again, you see that it's not unique to Levine or to Arizona, but really I think across the nation, students are definitely experiencing some learning loss, and it showed in our last assessment. The same thing is true for math. So makes our 23 look, well, it doesn't. It's 23 is not good. I can't make 23 good, but I can make it better. So really that's what I want to talk about tonight is what are we doing to address this? We knew before we got our state assessment results that our students would have some learning loss. So we actually created a learning recovery committee, I think it was back in February of last year, where we really started looking at, okay, how are we going to get our kids back into school? At some point, this pandemic needs to pass, and we need to have a plan to make up lost learning. And so we really looked at things like what staffing we could do, how we could do our scheduling, our programming that we would use. And so fortunately, we did get some money from the government to address that. And so as we've shared with you already, we have created some additional positions and really taken a look at how we can use our people and our time strategically to close gaps. But one of the things that we looked at originally was really what is different in this learning loss versus a few years ago when a student had a learning gap. And so it's important for us to make that distinguishment for our staff, because our kids, they don't all have learning disabilities. They had a pandemic. And so there's a different approach to it. Our students are smart and they're capable, but they have some gaps because they missed some instruction. And so we need to not treat them like they can't learn. They can learn, but we have to expose them to things. We purchased this book for all of our leadership. It's called Learning in the Fast Lane, and it's something that we started looking at really last May and through the summer and into this year. One of the reasons that we liked this book is it was actually written before the pandemic. It's an older book, but it really talks about a remedial approach versus an acceleration approach to close learning gaps. And it just tied so perfectly into where we're at right now. And so it would take me all night to explain the whole book, but I'll give you just a couple slides. So the book talks about what is remediation. And so the caution when we think about kids needing remedial support is we're thinking that before they can learn new material, they have to go back and master everything they missed. And that's really a misconception. And our kids don't have time to go back and redo a whole school year. They're in this school year. And so part of that idea is whenever you take kids and you just put them back and you teach them isolated skills that they missed, it might be closing some gaps, but it's never going to catch them up and get them back on course. And so acceleration is a different mindset where really you're teaching the current grade level standard, you're teaching what kids need to know, that's your ceiling, but you're scaffolding and doing sub-objectives to catch kids up. But it's related to what the new learning is. So we're not going to take a second grader and just say, well, the first half of second grade will be first grade. We're going to teach second grade to second graders, but we're going to make sure we've allotted enough instructional time in our schedule to scaffold and backfill. So just a little example of that. Second graders would be expected, a second grade math standard is for them to add and subtract fluently within 100 using strategies such as place value. So we are going to teach our kids to do that. But when we're doing that, we'll start with something like 27 plus 5, and the teacher's going to get out, and our curriculum is great with this. It has all of these little manipulatives and resources, but we will work with our kids on putting together 10s and 1s and remind them, can you take 10 1s and stick them together and make one 10? That's called regrouping. And if you have more than 10 1s, can you move them over? And so our program is set up to do this. And so when we say acceleration, what we really mean is really being thoughtful about what the sub-objectives are and scaffolding. And so if a teacher is doing this with the class and checking for understanding and they're lost, then they may just go back and say, okay, put 13 1s on your table. Let's just see if we can, is 13 more than 10? How do we know? Can we stick 10 of these together? And so that's what scaffolding is. And so we've asked our schools way back from the summer to make sure that their schedule allows for acceleration, which is really backfill and filling up, but keeping the end goal where they're at. And so, as I shared, our curriculum, both our ELA and our math, are full of great resources for the teachers to do this, to accelerate learning and to do interventions and to close gaps. We're really working hard through our staff development to make sure that teachers know how to use those resources. We have a lot of opportunities through our early release Wednesdays, as well as our after-school classes, and really just through the day-to-day feedback that teachers get from their school leaders. Some of the areas that they're focusing on are really understanding the standards and having purposeful planning. So not just knowing, oh, I'm going to teach two-digit addition today, but understanding what standard came before and what are the skills that are related to this standard, and making sure that our planning is purposeful and thoughtful and has opportunities built in for checking for understanding and reteaching as needed. So really our goal, I mean, we've got lots of room to grow. So our goal this year is to certainly help every student grow and really working towards getting as many as we can to proficiency. So one of the things Dr. Sprout's been telling the schools is we're talking about acceleration, and we can't just teach all of last year and not get to this year. As he talks about completing the course, and as he's going around and visiting schools, he's telling them our kids have to complete the course, meaning if they're a third grader, by the end of third grade, they have to have completed the course. So we need to not only teach third grade, but do it while we're scaffolding and backfilling. So that is a hefty job, but fortunately we have a great staff and very dedicated, and I've had the opportunity to go walk through classrooms, and they're off to a great start. That's it.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. I appreciate us not perseverating on everything that has happened and moving forward. We know what happened, so thank you for focusing on that. Okay. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. That's really helpful. As I think about as a kid, you're up for conferences next week. It's like this is the time to accelerate, and the timely book. And I know you guys are super focused on that. And I would say, like, even I'm grateful to the district. Even the mitigation strategy that we're putting in place right now has been helpful. Even getting these COVID tests quickly. I know my own daughter has benefited from that, so she shouldn't have to get out of the classroom for 10 days. So utilizing these resources has been a great asset for us. So, and as we get ready for next quarter, I appreciate all your guys' hard work. And Mr. Roloff, I want to give a shout out to your Miss Givens. She's a celebrity in my house. 2 years ago, my son was in her class. He was terrified of her. And now 2 years later, he still talks about her and just loves her. So great job.
Thank you. Torrance.
I'll just say that I'm very grateful and happy that our community is moving in the direction that we're moving in. It's great to have a school board meeting, but still see the impact the community's having, how important that we see the role of our kids continuing that. So just kudos to our community and our school district.
Again, scaffolding is fascinating. That's amazing. I would be curious to see if we could, how quickly we could accelerate a child. Just using it just as an experiment. And I also wanted to just go back very quickly on the LCAC, the youth leadership part. I just wanted to add a little tiny bit is that what we recognized or found out from businesses in the community, they didn't feel that the students were job ready. And so the correlation or the partnership between the school and the business owners, and if Dr. Watkins could just mention a little tiny bit, because I think he's going to do one of the I don't know, I don't have words.
Song and dance?
The song, yeah. No, but we want to work with kids and teach them to fill out a resume and where the businesses can offer resources, they can offer internships, they can offer So this whole combination of the LCAC and the chamber and the school is such a perfect circle to make our community complete. So thank you for the partnership, everybody who pitches in.
Thank you. Mrs. Anderson.
I don't have a lot, but
Sorry.
a lot of good comment. No, just thank you for all of your hard work and what you're doing and just taking the time to help kids understand all that scaffolding piece. And I think the great thing tonight is just seeing all the community connections that we're making. And that's just amazing, amazing. So thank you for working hard on that and continue to do good work.
I'll just say to each of you guys are doing incredible work. I think we maybe thought 2021 was going to be easier than 2020. I think maybe it's not. I think maybe it might be harder. But we just appreciate everything you guys do. We know that you are working hard, and while we don't know the details of all of those things, all of us very much appreciate that. We do have a call to the public on a non-agenda item. I was told this last name, but I know that it is not phonetic in any way, shape, or form. So I'm just going to say Miss Catherine, and I think you know who you are. So come on up and please tell us your last name.
My last name is P. Hutsky.
Okay. It starts with a P, but was it like a K sound, right?
It looks like Pachaki.
Yeah.
That's P. Hutsky.
Nothing like that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, President Berrigan, members of the board, of Dr. Sprout. I have a request regarding transportation. I'd like to preface that many of our schools were originally neighborhood schools. The move toward open enrollment has increased traffic to and from the schools and into the neighborhoods for drop-off and pickup. This is both a safety concern with increased traffic and an environmental concern with idling cars, etc. I'm requesting that if possible, some mapping and planning to address where students are traveling from could be done to see if there are more transportation or busing options to get more kids into their neighborhoods and within walking distance from their homes and relieving some of this congestion. Thank you for hearing my concerns. I know you can't address it right now, but I appreciate you just registering that and maybe looking into it.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments tonight. We will give this information to Dr. Sprout, and he or someone will be in contact with you. And with that, we can adjourn this meeting, but we'll do it again on November 9th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.